So it does concern me when I see some people, when I see some women step into this conversation that is about men. Sure, we like the solidarity, we love the support, we love the advocacy, we love the awareness that we are hurting. But let us have a space where we can talk about these things to one another and organize around these things with
Yes.
one another
Yep.
and do the work. Because for some reason, I was hit with a response by a lot of women thinking that I was asking for their help. And in this case, it was a lot of black women thinking that I was asking for their help because I said something about my wife being white. And they totally misunderstood that. But they thought I was asking for black women to come to my rescue and help me. I'm like, no, that's not what I was asking for. Um,
But that's what they were. That's what they were hearing.
that's what they were hearing.
Yeah.
That's
That not.
that's what they were
That's
hearing.
you were not even saying that, but that's what they were hearing.
But I think the part of it was that that's what they were conditioned to hear too. When I go back now and I listen to some of the female content creators and those who have positioned themselves as pro-black, I always say to people, pro-black should not mean anti-white or anti anything. Pro-black is not anti anything. Um, I'm not calling you into service. I'm not begging you to come save me because I messed up. You got it all wrong. Similarly, men are not calling for women to come and save them by having conversations about false allegations against men. We can work on this ourselves. We'll let you know
Yeah.
what we need you to do if we need you to do anything, but this is a conversation that we're having, and
Because they
that's
have,
okay.
because they haven't done it either, and they're not gonna
Right.
do it. And I think Kevin Samuels was very good with this point. He used to say like, "You're coming here for men. You know the problem the men are going through because of the feminism, but you're coming to us to go to the females and fix the problem. That's a problem that you guys have to fix. We have our own problem." That was Kevin Samuels,
Right.
and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, a lot of people have forgotten that what Kevin Samuels was good at it. He was very good at maintaining the conversation around men, and men are struggling. Even though I have a family, I'm gonna have my third kid, but I'm married, not through the state.
Right.
Yeah, I'm married privately. My wife is gonna change her last name, all that stuff. I'm not married through the state, right? Because I understand these things. However, there's some concerns when it comes down to other people not even having the information
Right.
to know what's going on, and I think it's not in our best interest, right, to have people or the female area to come to the conversation, because if they're not even doing it right now by themselves, what makes you think they can come to the space and fix the problem unless they want to talk about the problem but you men go and fix it,
Right. You know
which
what we're talking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it makes it a slower process.
Right. Right. Which for me is a lot like the very basic conversation of it does take a man to raise a boy.
Ah, boy, yeah.
The very basic conversation of it takes a woman to raise a girl. Um, Men need to work together with other men to make stronger men. And if we look at a Venn diagram, that overlapping circle, those two circles where you've got a middle piece and you've got two separate circles, they come together. And there's a woman circle and there's a man circle, and they come together in the
Yeah.
middle, and there's something that happens in there, right? But over here, it's uniquely a man side, and over there, it's uniquely a woman side. And we're going to incubate and raise men and support men in the uniquely man side of the Venn diagram. And
Mm-hmm.
we expect women to do the
The
same
same
thing in
thing.
their side. And when we come together in that middle space, we'll be better for one another.
Yeah.
But we don't live in that space. We don't incubate in that space. We don't want the middle space to compensate for what the main space should do. And as you and I are sitting here right now in the man side of this conversation, this is a man's conversation. And when you and I come out of this, we'll go to our respective middle space
Mm-hmm.
where women will be, and we will be better men because we share the man space together.
Exactly.
That's
Because
the way I believe it's supposed to be.
yeah, and that's more like and you see this a lot when it comes down to male and female dynamics. When you have a group of men hanging
Mm-hmm.
out and having their own,
Mm-hmm.
moment as men, all of a sudden you see a
Right.
female coming in, you see how the shift or the male
Yes.
energy change.
Yes.
That alone, should tell you why these kind of conversations should not integrate females for now.
Right.
For now, because at the end, we want justice and balance for everybody, right? Because I think
That's correct.
if it's easier for us for men to just point at another man and hold them accountable than
Right.
pointing to a female and try or even talk about how to handle it or accountable. Because I don't know, it's something about us as men that we just want to cater and protect them. But I think it's better for us to men to just go back to the drawing board and say, okay, let's go to the states that we have a better shot to make sure we can just protect men from fraudulent marriages, paternity fraud. We can focus our energy on that and make sure we get it done.
Right.
Make sure we get it done because I know, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, man, and it's always the same problem when you integrate this kind of feminist talking points. It just feel like they just want to drive the conversation like to the end of the tunnel kind of thing, right? Like the moving the goalpost technique is just out of control. All of a sudden you're talking about veganism and climate change and why the moon is not real. You start thinking about what happened here. We were talking about, hey, the laws are not fair when it comes to marriage, and all of a sudden we're talking about all this stuff that make no sense, which is our mistake. We're making that because logically we think, okay, the problem is between men and women. We have to invite females to get their perspective.
Right.
But what happens when we get their perspective? They're not equipped to function as men. That's why they don't want to fix the problem. You see what I'm saying?
I do. I do. And I think that going back to the beginning of our conversation, I think that we got to know who we are as men, independent of women, so that we can remain men when we come together with women.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I, I talk about the cautionary tale that I'm sharing and how the imbalance, something was going on that erupted in the most bizarre kind of situation the most bizarre, I believe, situation I've ever experienced in my personal life. When I think about what happened with my parents as a child, there was nothing that I could do as a child to manage that any different than I did. So moving into this situation with my ex-wife felt like I had been man enough, mature enough as a man to be able to handle whatever it is that we were going through. But that's because I had man space even in that time. There were men that I would talk to separate from her. So if I think about who are the women that she was talking to,
That's a good question, Ulysses.
who are the women that she was talking to that would have informed her relationships about men? And people would say to me, there was probably another guy. She was probably seeing somebody else. Well, that's not really the question that I'm asking about whether or not she was seeing someone else. The question that I'm asking is, who were the women that were informing her about what it means to be a mother, a wife, a woman for me? Because there were certainly men that I was talking to about what it meant to be a husband, father, man for her. And I thought I was bringing some of the best knowledge and some of the best care to the relationship. And there were times, Pablo, where I would ask myself, well, what did I do? What happened? What, me. So I started looking at myself going, what did I do? The fact of the matter is you can do everything with integrity, with care, with compassion, with optimal love, but you can't force the other person to do it. And you can't hold yourself responsible for the other person not holding up their end of the bargain. So again, there may be two sides to a story, but if my story is transparent and very visible, but your story is dark and hidden, then what difference does it make that mine is transparent and clear when yours is dark,
Yeah.
when yours is hidden? You don't blame me for yours being hidden. You were the one who decided to hide it.